So PayPal just continues to bounce above and then fall below the $60 mark over and over and over again for the past 5 months now. Good earnings don't seem to matter. Wholesale changes in the business don't seem to matter either. And even a complete turnover of management hasn't mattered to this stock. So when I actually look at and analyze the bear case, there are some things that they may very well be right on. So let's explore that today. Basically separate fact from fiction with all of the things that come up in the bear case. I just ask that you gently tap that like button if you like getting the truth without the hype and not just having smoke blown up your butt that PayPal is going to go to, $200 next week or something like that. And yeah, I actually saw something, somebody sent me something where somebody was saying PayPal was going to be at 250 by the end of the year, something crazy like that. Hey, I win big if that happens, but I don't see any real way that that happens this year. So generally speaking, there are 3 main points that kind of come along with every bear case against PayPal. And so I'm going to basically look at those and kind of distinguish fact from fiction, because there is some facts in there, guys, whether we like it or not, there is some facts. And then I'll tell you if and when I think PayPal is going to overcome all these different bear objections against its stock. So number 1, it's not innovative. It's actually a laggard. Well, when I look at this, it is true, guys. It is absolutely true. Now, PayPal used to be the innovator. They used to be ahead of the game. They used to be first to everything. But that was a long time ago, unfortunately, and I cannot sit here with a straight face and tell you that they are somehow now the most innovative in the space and taking the space to new places that it's never been before. That is simply not true. The old regime, basically, and the regime before that actually got lazy, they got slow, they got very bureaucratic, and just were not able to innovate or even just keep up, much less innovate ahead of everybody else. And I need no further example, and I'll just give you one right here, than the fact that PayPal just got Face ID. That is something that has been out there for a long time in regards to the payment space, and they just now implemented it this year. And if I'm being more honest, if Alex wouldn't have come on board and this was still the old group and the old management team, it'd probably be another 3 years or maybe ever before we ever got that feature installed when you're using PayPal. So that right there shows you how far behind they are in regards to innovation. Now, I agree, they are trying to change that. They are making changes all over the place for that. But that does not negate the fact, and I'm saying fact here, guys, that right now PayPal is not innovative at all and is definitely not the innovator in the space. Now, I know they're trying to get there. I like all the things that they proposed, but those things that they proposed, we're not there yet, guys. We're not even a quarter of the way there yet. So for right now, this point of the bear case is actually fact, and I have to acknowledge that. So point number 2, PayPal has no growth. Now, this is another common thing that I hear from the bears and I hear from everybody that comments on my videos and everywhere else, kind of the case against PayPal. But I don't care about headlines or people's comments. I care about facts, and I can easily verify facts as to whether or not PayPal is actually growing or not. It's very easy to verify, so let's do it right now. Don't know about you guys, but what I'm looking at right here on this chart, for the past 5 years, I would say that is growth in terms of revenue. That right there is what we're looking at, is revenue growth. When I look at this chart, that definitely screams over the past 5 years, they have been growing revenue every single year. That is not what revenue growth of a dying company looks like. That is called steady, top line growth that's just consistent and moving up and forward. Again, that is not no growth like all the bears would say. So the bear narrative there is just flat wrong when you look at the facts. That's what I'm looking at, guys. You can't argue with those facts. Now, another fact is Alex says he also wants to really increase the growth in earnings and EPS and profitability. All kind of the same thing there. So let's take a look at EPS growth and see where we're at with that particular fact in regards to growth. Now, as you see right there on the chart, it is not as good. However, when you look at the last 4 quarters, that is 4 straight quarters of EPS growth starting to accelerate again. And remember, Alex is focusing on growing this line more than revenue. So if he can keep this acceleration going, that to me very, very much looks like EPS growth as well. He basically said that from the start, guys. He said that is his focus, is getting that EPS growth engine started again. And you can see right there, it's already started. But if he's able to really get it moving more positive in the right direction there, we could see some explosive EPS growth towards the end of the year there. So, as a matter of fact, I see that number increasing over the next 3 or 4 quarters, unless, and that's what they guided to more importantly, you got to keep that in mind, The only caveat to that would be if they took on a one-time charge or something like that, then that one quarter, it's going to look really, really ugly and then go back to the growth again. But outside of a scenario like that, which happens during turnaround times where they decide to take a big loss, cutting out a business segment or whatever they choose to do there, that right there is the only way I don't see we see continued EPS growth quarter over quarter. And obviously, we're going to see it year over year, even if they take that one-time charge. So again, when I look at all the things, all the facts, when I'm looking at growth, this is not a no growth company. That is false. The numbers show you that it's false. They are either continuing to grow and never had a giant slowdown, as you can see when we looked at revenue, or you see EPS absolutely took a dive, but for 4 straight quarters, it has grown once again. So again, depending upon how you kind of want to view it there, that to me factually shows that they are growing EPS as well. So the facts show continued revenue growth and accelerated EPS growth is happening. All right, we didn't completely disprove the bears there, but we mostly disproved the bears there in regards to that. Definitely disproved the whole idea of no growth. If you're going to tell me no growth as a bear, you're factually wrong. The numbers show that. But this final bear case we're going to look at next is the one that I get quoted the most, the one that I hear the most. So it must be true, right? I mean, if I'm hearing it all the time, it's the one that comes up constantly as the biggest one. It must be true. So let's look at it next. And that is the competition is destroying PayPal. Apple, Zeal, Square, and even X are just destroying PayPal. Now, we'll start right there with X, which doesn't have a product yet. We don't know when that's going to come out. And we have no idea if it's going to be successful or not. And I'm sorry, I am a Tesla bull. I love Elon, but not everything he does turns to gold. He has failures and he fails, not a lot, but he fails more often than a lot of folks think. And it is by far and away not a foregone conclusion that because he started PayPal way back a long, long time ago, that now magically he's going to be able to put out some product that's just going to destroy PayPal on the other end there and just somehow take up all its market share and eat it all alive. I don't know where that narrative comes from, but right now, there's not even a product there, so there's not even anything to judge. So let's kind of look at the other products and kind of see if there's any truth there. I agree, Apple Pay and all the other competitors are actually growing at a better clip. There's no doubt in my mind. I don't think anybody's arguing that at all. But what I would argue is it's irrelevant, and let me explain exactly why. It's completely not relevant to PayPal, nor are they technically eating off of PayPal. Basically, they've got to lose. PayPal has to lose in order for all these other companies to win. And since all these other companies are winning, that must mean PayPal's losing. Let's look at facts and see if that's actually true. When Apple basically released its product and it decided it was going to directly compete with PayPal, and that's when I first started hearing, oh my gosh, Apple's going to completely destroy PayPal, and Apple had its first. It was a great, huge quarter. It was massive. And what happened with PayPal during that time? Because clearly, if Apple Pay enters the market and they have a huge win that first quarter, it's got to take away from PayPal, right? Well, actually, that's wrong. PayPal actually grew 8% during that quarter. So clearly, whatever the heck Apple Pay didn't do anything. It's not like PayPal would have grown by 25%, but because Apple was there, it only grew by 8. No, it was actually one of the best quarters in terms of growth that PayPal's had in a very long time. So clearly, that is not true. And let me explain to you why it's not true. They are all competing right now at this stage in fintech's career in the payment space. They are all competing against legacy banks. They are not competing against each other. Because if this is I've seen anything from a $2 to a $4 trillion market is what this market is. Well, right now, they're not sucking up even $1 trillion worth of this market yet, depending upon which metric you want to use. I think the other metric I saw was like 1.5 trillion out of that deal. So that means there's still all the rest of the $2.5 to $3 trillion in TAM to go grab. Who's saying they're not getting out there and grabbing that TAM? And obviously, if there's that much TAM out there, there's room for everybody to be big winners. Now, if the TAM was completely saturated, that right there is when you start eating away from each other. Think like the car business, right? That right there is when things are completely saturated. It's not like people that want to own our cars just don't own cars yet. No, everybody owns a car that wants to own a car nowadays. It's completely saturated. The question is which car are you going to own? Which brand are you going to own? That right there is a saturated market. This market right here is not even halfway to saturation yet, meaning everybody can grow at massive growth rates and still not have to take from anybody else. Now, yes, I'm sure there's some people that did switch from PayPal over to Apple and all that other good stuff like that. There's no doubt in my mind there is some that goes on there, but it is very, very minuscule compared to how much they're taking away from other legacy style payment processors and the legacy style of doing business. So this bear case point falls flat and is not true. Using facts, it is not true. So it looks like the only thing that the bears kind of have on their side that I can say is true would be the innovation piece. I can't argue any other way at that stage. PayPal has to prove it. Alex has to prove it. I know he's saying he does it. I know he has presented some options that would definitely move them more into that innovative category, but you have to get to the other side of that, especially with PayPal's history, in order to really trust that judgment there, in order to really crush that bear argument. So for right now, I can't say that that bear argument is not fact. But the other two, there's not a whole lot there, and this is exactly what you want to see as a company, is for the bear cases against it to start to fall, and then the bears start grasping at straws and grasp at smaller and smaller and more insignificant or just straight out false things to try to keep the company down. You're seeing that right now with Palantir. All the bear cases you're seeing against Palantir now, they don't hold any water. Some of them are just fake or made up, or I don't even know where they're going with it. I'm like, who freaking cares? What does this have to do with anything? It's ridiculous out there. PayPal's not there yet, but they are slowly knocking down the bear cases, but there is a long way to go in order for them to knock them all down. So for me, in terms of time frame of when PayPal actually knocks this bear case out, that for me is a very simple answer there that you guys are going to get. So that way you know that exact time. For me, I'm going to put that out there as next year is when that happens. And that's not Loop being smart or anything else ridiculous like that, or me knowing the future or anything stupid like that. That is simply what they told me in earnings. That is what Alex said. This is going to take basically a year, maybe a little bit more than a year in order to do that. He said that in his first earnings call when he came through. So for me, all right, let's give them 2024, see if they get there or not. If you believe Alex can innovate and actually turn this around and actually not necessarily have them being the most innovative, but being right there at the forefront of innovation, then this sucker to me is worth staying around because we're going to see some great earnings on the back end of this sucker. However, if you don't believe that, hey, I completely understand. May not be the right stock for you. You got to move on to something else. Makes perfect sense to me either. But make sure, regardless of what you're basing your decision on, make sure you are using facts and make sure you are actually looking at what the data is telling you in regards to these companies and not just going off some opinion on, even myself. Don't go off my opinion. Go do your own work out there and figure it out for yourself. And if you want to have a group of 6, 7, and 8-figure investors helping you directly parse through all the noise out there with all the bears. You want to be able to get free coaching. You want to be able to take 5 courses for free and be a part of the best Discord group out there. Make sure you take advantage of the sale that's going on right now to be the pinned comment down there where you get all that. You also get access to me directly anytime you want. Tons of exclusive videos, a stock analyzer tool. Guys, there is so much involved in the membership. Make sure you check out the pinned comment down there and see if a membership's right for you. And click this video here if you want to see exactly what I'm buying in this market. And click here to see my exact plan for this market. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.